Alright, welcome everyone. If you've been here a while, you've probably noticed everything is different again. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Michaela. I've been gone for about a year focusing on schoolwork, but I am back and I've improved a lot of things and I'm excited to see where things go. Sorry everything was so long and unexpected. Unlike my earlier videos, this will be fully voiced over, but I don't care if you want to mute and listen to music, it's fine. Originally, I saw this portrait of Grand Duchess Maria Nikolaevna on Pinterest while looking for inspiration. It was without credit, so I copied it into Google. It's by Christina Robertson. Then I did some light Wikipedia research on Maria to make sure she wasn't a murderer or anything. She is not. She is also not the Grand Duchess Maria Nikolaevna who died during the Romanov family execution, along with the very famous Princess Anastasia. That one came later. They were related, though. This Maria was their great-grand aunt. Also, for brevity, I will be referring to Maria throughout the rest of this video without all the extra formalities. Since I am paraphrasing the Wikipedia article, it is in the description. Maria was born to Tsar Nicholas I of Russia and Empress Alexandra Fyodorovna on August 18, 1819 in St. Petersburg. She was the oldest of the three girls, and out of her 7 full siblings, only her brother Alexander was older. The girls' rooms in the Winter Palace were said to be unpretentious and void of luxury, but, it's still a castle. Classes began at 8, which is still later than most schools now. Maria's education was supervised by poet Vasily Zhukovsky. They were said to be close up until his death. All the sisters received dancing, music, and drawing lessons. One of Maria's childhood sketchbooks survived and is being looked after by her descendants in the United States. I was only able to find one photo of it, which I will put up on the screen now. If I knew Russian, I would be able to tell a little bit more about what's going on, but I can tell that it says kitty on there, and it looks like there's a little boy stuck in a well. Maria was said to be an inventive person with strong character. To steal a quote from her sister Olga, she said that Maria was hot-tempered, attentive, and generous towards the poor, sympathetic to good deeds, but could not bear pretense of coercion. She was 100 times more virtuous than me, more dynamic than all 7 of us. She only lacks a sense of duty. Many considered Maria her father's favorite child, and that her serious, formidable gaze matched his. Her mother worried about finding her a suitable husband, in part because Maria did not want to leave Russia or convert her religion, which is an entirely understandable term. In 1837, King Ludwig I of Bavaria sent his nephew Maximilian, Duke of Leuchtenberg, to take part in cavalry maneuvers in Russia. Maximilian was the only surviving son of Eugene de Beauharnais and grandson of Empress Josephine. According to people around him, he was handsome and well educated. On his second visit to Russia, he impressed Maria well enough that within 4 days her sister wrote in her diary that it was clear that they were made for each other. Despite Maximilian's lower rank and his family being entirely against it, their wedding took place July 2, 1839, at the Grand Church of the Winter Palace. Even people who disliked Max praised Maria for her grace. Her father spared no expense, and the festivities kept going for 2 weeks. He even gave Maria her own palace on her wedding day. However, he didn't stop there. He also commissioned architect Andrei Stackensnyder to work daily with his daughter to design it how she wished. The palace was finally finished by the end of 1844 and was named the Mariinsky Palace after her. In case you were worried for some reason, they lived in the Vorontsov Palace while they waited. The palace was not only designed to fit her taste, but also to have ease of access. Maria was afflicted with circulatory problems in her legs, as there are ramps throughout the right wing connecting all 3 floors. She filled the place with works of art and family heirlooms, some inherited from Empress Josephine. Both Maria and her husband were interested in art and charity, even when he became well known as a scientist. In 1843, he was appointed president of the Academy of Arts, and in 1844 appointed head of the Mining and Engineering Department. Maria liked to call him a scholar. However, by the late 1840s, they had already drifted apart, and each had their own separate affairs. Max was known for having multiple, while Maria started a long-term relationship with Count Gregory Alexandrovich Stroganov. Rumors attributed her son George to him. Max, on the other hand, developed tuberculosis during his mining expeditions, and despite their best efforts, he died November 1st, 1852. After his death, Maria replaced him as president of the Academy of Arts, and she devoted herself to her art collection. In 1854, Maria and Gregory were secretly married. Once again, and the man Maria wished to marry was below her status. Officially, their marriage did not take place until November 16, 1856, after her father died. Despite her begging, Maria's brother refused to recognize her second marriage and gave special attention to children from her first marriage. Maria's art spending increased so dramatically after her father's death, her brother even kept her on a strict budget. However, it was still said that Maria and her brother were close. In 1862, Maria left for Florence in the Villa Quarto, which had belonged to Jerome Bonaparte, and appointed the painter and collector Carl Lepard as her advisor. They went almost daily to visit museums, private collections, and antique dealers. In Italy, Maria once again began to spend lavishly in her purchases of art, sculptures, and paintings. While we aren't 100% sure, many scholars believe that Maria either suffered from varicose veins or some sort of bone disease. However, we do know that the ailment worsened as she aged, and she died on February 21st, 1876, in St. Petersburg. She was 56 and had a total of 9 children in her life, 7 in her first marriage and 2 in her second. Though unfortunately, 2 of her children, 1 from each marriage, died in childhood, and 1 was also later killed in war. On her death, Maria's art collections were divided among her surviving children: Prince Nicholas of Luxembourg, his brothers Eugene and George, their sisters Princess Maria of Baden and Princess Eugenia of Oldenburg, and their half-sister Countess Elena Stroganova. In 1844, her son Nicholas mounted an exhibition at the St. Petersburg Academy of Fine Arts. In 1913, another exhibition was organized at the Hermitage Museum entitled The Heritage of Grand Duchess Maria Nikolaevna. After the Revolution, the collection was dispersed and is now spread out in museums in Moscow, St. Petersburg, Vienna, and the United States. 3 of Maria's sons, all from her first marriage, lived in the Mariinsky Palace until it was sold to the treasury to pay for the family's mounting debts. It currently houses the St. Petersburg Legislative Assembly. Since that's the end of Maria's story, the only thing left to talk about is this artwork. Obviously, I'm still learning, but this was a fun way to learn. I did purposely change a few things, like the lighting, and I changed the size of the canvas to be better for Instagram, and I did do line art because I want to get better at that, because that's the type of art I enjoy, but obviously the original did not have line art. I'd also like everyone to know that I will be uploading once every 2 weeks on Fridays. The next one's a photo study that I didn't actually completely follow along with, but it looks nice and it mostly follows it, and it's got floofy dresses, so let me know what I should talk about next time in the comments, and that's about it. Bye!